That morning found me absorbed in caring for my rose garden, blissfully unaware of the unexpected turn my day would take. My fingers worked through the earth, carefully inspecting the roots of newly planted flowers. The morning unfolded with the same peaceful rhythm as countless others before it, until a searing jolt of pain tore through my back, and my step-nephew Taylor happened to be there at precisely that moment. These gardens had become my refuge after losing my husband Grant, the one place where my spirit could truly mend. But that particular morning carried a different energy. At 67, I'd often been complimented on my youthful appearance. "Nora, how do you stay so vibrant?" Though my secret was simple: good food, daily movement, and refusing to let the young woman inside me fade. Still, beneath the surface, loneliness had carved deep hollows in me. My looks might still draw glances, but inside, I carried an ache that never quite left. As I adjusted one of the young plants, a bolt of pain lanced through my back so violently that I dropped everything in my hands. I squeezed my eyes shut, trying to breathe through it, but the agony only radiated outward, locking my muscles in place. Then, suddenly, Taylor's voice cut through the haze. "Nora, are you okay?" Taylor, my step-nephew, was 22, broad-shouldered, athletic, with the kind of striking features that belonged on a billboard. Sunlight caught in his blonde hair, and his sharp eyes fixed on me with unmistakable worry. He had an effortless charm, the sort that drew people in without him even trying. And now, all that focused intensity was directed at me. "My back," I managed, gesturing weakly to the worst of the pain. "Something's wrong. I can't move." If you're ready for a story where lines blur, emotions tangle, and unspoken truths hum beneath the surface, then stay with me. This isn't just any tale. It's one that might stir something unexpected in you. If that sounds like your kind of journey, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to follow along. Taylor knelt beside me. "Let me help," he said, and when his large hands settled on my shoulders, an involuntary shudder ran through me. "A massage might loosen it up," he added. I was too desperate to refuse. But what truly caught me off guard wasn't just the relief. It was the way his touch affected me. His fingers, strong yet careful, worked over the knotted muscles, and slowly the pain ebbed, replaced by a spreading warmth. It was as if something dormant inside me had been roused. A breath escaped me, deeper than I meant. "Taylor," I started, then faltered. He didn't speak either, just kept working, his hands gliding in a way that made every point of contact feel electric. Something between us shifted then, leaving me equal parts unnerved and exhilarated. After a while, he paused, leaning closer. "Nora, this is bad," he murmured, his tone serious. "We can't fix it out here. Let's get you inside. The fireplace will help. I'll grab some cream for your back." I hesitated, but the pain decided for me. With a nod, I let him guide me up. "Easy," he said, his grip steadying me. There was something unexpectedly reassuring in the way he held me, a closeness I hadn't known in years. Inside, the fire cast the room in a golden haze, its heat wrapping around me like an embrace, softening the tension in my limbs. Taylor spread a blanket near the hearth and gestured for me to lie down. "You need to stretch out properly," he said, his gaze intent but flickering with something uncertain. "I've got cream. It'll help." I settled onto the blanket, the fire's warmth seeping into my bones as Taylor warmed the cream between his palms. The moment his hands met my skin, a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding rushed out. "Just relax," he said softly. "You'll feel better soon." But his touch did more than soothe my back. It awakened something in me, something I'd thought long buried. As his fingers traced downward, my thoughts spun, equal parts clarity and chaos. Taylor wasn't just healing me. He was stirring me back to life. For a heartbeat, doubt flickered inside me, but the pain won out. I let him help me up. "Slowly," he murmured, his hands nearly encircling me completely. There was an odd safety in his protectiveness, a kind of nearness I hadn't felt in so long. Inside, The fire painted the room in amber light, its crackling warmth washing over me the moment we stepped in. Taylor spread a blanket and nodded for me to lie down. "You need to relax your back properly," he said. His expression remained serious, though something gentler flickered in his gaze. "I brought some cream, too," he said. "This will help relax those muscles." I settled onto the blanket, the fire's warmth enveloping me as Taylor squeezed cream into his palm, rubbing his hands together to warm it. When his fingers first made contact with my shoulder, I gasped without meaning to. "Just relax," he murmured, his voice soft. "You'll feel better soon." But with every stroke of his hands, something shifted inside me. This wasn't just physical relief. His touch was awakening emotions I'd locked away years ago. As his fingers worked along my back, my thoughts grew both clearer and more tangled. His movements were slow yet deliberate, reaching deeper than just my muscles. "No wonder you're so tense," he observed, his tone carrying a warmth that caught me off guard. "You take on too much, Nora. The garden, the housework. You need to think about yourself, too." I tried to explain. "The garden is my therapy, Taylor." "Without it—" "I know," he interrupted, his touch softening slightly. "But you need more than just the garden. You need people, someone who cares about you." His words warmed me more than the fire ever could, yet they also unsettled me. Maybe I understood what he meant. Maybe I just wasn't ready to face it. His hands drifted lower, the heat of his palms easing the knots in my back while tying new ones in my stomach. Being this close to him was equal parts comforting and terrifying. "Taylor," I finally said, my voice unsteady. "You're really helping, but—" "I know," he replied, slower this time. "But it's okay. Just relax, Nora." His words felt heavier than simple advice. Like the fire's flames, his presence seemed to grow nearer with each passing second. As his hands glided down my back, a strange unease took hold. His warmth penetrated deeper, slow yet undeniable. My thoughts grew muddled, an internal war breaking out. "Stay calm, Nora," I told myself. But control slipped through my fingers. When his palms inched closer to my shoulders, my pulse raced, torn between Taylor's proximity and the boundaries years had built. Suddenly, a voice screamed inside me. "He's your step-nephew, Nora. This isn't right." The firelight had filled the room with a golden glow, but soon the heat became oppressive. When Taylor wiped sweat from his forehead, my gaze drifted to him before I could stop it. Then, in one motion, he tugged his shirt off, his sun-kissed skin glowing in the firelight like carved marble. I can't describe what I felt then. This closeness to another person after so many years alone. "This heat is too much," he said casually, dropping his shirt to the floor. But the intensity in his eyes froze me in place. Then his gaze met mine. "Nora," he murmured, his voice firm yet gentle. "You're overheating too. You'll feel worse if you keep that on. Let me help." Words failed me. Part of me wanted to refuse, but the stifling warmth won out. Slowly, I nodded. Taylor knelt beside me, fingers brushing the hem of my shirt. His touch sent a shiver through me. Not from cold, but from a different kind of heat. Carefully, he lifted the fabric, guiding it over my head before setting it aside. The air between us thickened instantly. His eyes lingered on me briefly before he looked away, but I didn't need to see his face to recognize the chaos that glance ignited inside me. "Nora," Taylor said, his voice deeper now. "Do you feel better?" "I think so," I managed, my voice breaking. No words could mask the storm within. This wasn't just the fire's heat anymore. It was him. "Come on," he said, offering his hand. "Let's move to the couch. You'll be more comfortable." When our fingers touched, an electric current shot through me, a sensation I hadn't felt in decades. As he helped me up, his strong arms steadied me, his protectiveness so natural that my fears began dissolving. Once on the couch, he sat close but left space between us. Yet the tension remained, unspoken but undeniable. Something hung in the air between us, something impossible to name. Trying not to drown in the depth of his gaze, I fought to quiet the turmoil inside. But one thing was clear tonight. Denying what we felt was becoming harder by the second. Silence stretched between us, broken only by the fire's crackle. My heart pounded so loudly I swore he could hear it. Just sitting beside him, his presence, his breathing, affected me in ways I couldn't explain. This closeness left me both nervous and strangely at peace. When I turned my head, our eyes met. His gaze held something. Curiosity? Something deeper? In that moment, the world seemed to stop. Then, slowly, Taylor reached for my hand. When his fingers brushed mine, a shiver ran through me. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. Yet the silence between us spoke volumes. His gaze dropped to my lips for just a heartbeat, and in that instant, everything transformed. He moved toward me gradually, so near now that I could feel his breath warming my skin. The warring voices in my head fell quiet. No more debating right or wrong. There was only Taylor's eyes holding mine and the unbearable closeness between us. My eyelids fluttered shut as I tilted forward slightly to meet him. When our lips touched, time seemed to suspend itself. The initial contact was tentative, almost questioning, but within moments that softness gave way to something far more urgent. His warmth, his breathing, the pressure of his mouth. Everything felt disconnected from reality. Years of loneliness, fear, and suppressed yearning suddenly fused with this connection. This wasn't merely a kiss. It was the eruption of emotions too long contained, of desires never acknowledged, perhaps even of a bond that had always existed beneath the surface. As the kiss intensified, his hands traced my jawline while my fingers dug into his shoulders, the heat of his skin burning through my palms. We broke apart simultaneously, our breaths ragged, yet the invisible tether between us felt more unshakable than ever. Words seemed unnecessary now. What could possibly be said? One truth stood undeniable. After tonight, nothing between us would ever return to how it was. Pulling away left me gasping, my heart hammering violently against my ribs. Taylor's eyes held both wonder and raw hunger, and in that moment, my thoughts went utterly still. My body and heart had taken command now. "Taylor," I whispered, my voice trembling but my meaning unmistakable. "Yes, I want you, I want this." The confession tore something loose inside me. Decades of isolation and fear dissolved instantly. Nothing existed beyond this space, this man, this all-consuming need. A flicker of surprise crossed his face before a slow, knowing smile curved his lips. His gaze reflected the same fire surrounding us. "I want you too, Nora," he murmured, his voice tender yet resolute. "I fought this, but I can't anymore. I need you, all of you." His words washed through me like a rising tide, each syllable resonating deeper. Cradling my face, he drew me nearer, and when our lips met again, there was no hesitation, only perfect understanding. The passion between us transcended language. This was a threshold moment, and despite every fear screaming at me to stop, I surrendered completely to the current of emotion carrying me forward. Later, tangled together beneath a thin sheet, breathless and spent, I lay staring at the ceiling while our discarded clothes littered the floor. The night felt dreamlike, surreal. Taylor turned toward me, that irresistible smile still playing on his lips as his fingers brushed my cheek, his thumb grazing my mouth. "Nora," he said, his voice rich and quiet. "I wouldn't trade this for anything." I shifted to face him, overwhelmed by the emotions still coursing through me. "Thank you, Taylor," I whispered, my voice thick with gratitude. "I've been so lonely for so long, but you, strong, young, beautiful you, I adore this. Adore you." I made no effort to hide the raw sincerity in my eyes. His grin widened, that signature charm lighting up his face. "Nora, do you have any idea how stunning you are?" he murmured. "And I don't just mean your looks. Being with you, your warmth, your honesty, it changes me. You make me better." I couldn't look away. His words, his touch, everything about this moment felt searingly real. something I needed to brand into my memory forever. I needed you, Taylor, I admitted. And you were here. I couldn't ask for more. He smiled faintly, tracing the edge of the sheet. I'll come to you whenever you need me, Nora. From now on. His tone carried quiet conviction. Just to see you. Just to give us more moments like this. In that instant, I sensed a new chapter beginning. The weight of past solitude was lifting. With Taylor beside me, I felt a profound peace I'd forgotten existed. Closing my eyes, I breathed deeply and nestled closer to his warmth. Tonight was only the start, the first steps on an uncharted path. And knowing I no longer had to walk it alone, that was priceless. Scene transition. The bathroom's silence pressed in on me, amplifying my isolation. The shower's heat did little to soothe the restless energy building in my chest. Something was coming. I could feel it like a shift in the air, both thrilling and terrifying. As water streamed over my legs, the emotional tempest inside me grew more chaotic. I struggled to define what I was feeling, but my emotions collided without direction. Marcus was away on business, leaving me alone in the house. Yet despite knowing Thomas shouldn't be here, I couldn't shake the sensation of his proximity, a realization that made my pulse stutter. Then the unmistakable sound of the door opening. Footsteps. Though I willed myself to stay calm, my body locked in place, my mind racing. What now? What should I do? Everything was moving too fast. I could distinctly hear Thomas's footsteps as he paused behind me for several tense seconds. The sound of running water only heightened the nervous energy coursing through me. The water cascading down my body couldn't conceal what I was experiencing. Something fundamental was changing. His presence affected me physically and mentally in ways I couldn't ignore. He took another step forward, shrinking the distance between us with each passing moment. My breathing became shallow, my muscles tensing of their own accord. Eliza, Thomas said, his voice trembling slightly yet determined. I need you. My heart skipped. Even the slight movement of my hands through the water felt significant. Though I sensed his gaze burning into my back, I couldn't bring myself to turn around. My body yearned for his closeness, yet my mind struggled to process what was happening. Thomas remained silent as he closed the final gap between us. His proximity electrified every nerve in my body. My internal conflict reached a breaking point. Thoughts evaporated, leaving only raw sensation. A silent scream echoed in my mind as emotions warred within me. Then our eyes met, and suddenly nothing else mattered. In that instant, the space between Thomas and me disappeared. My emotions intensified with every second our gazes remained locked. As we moved closer, logic fled. There was only this moment, this undeniable pull. Despite the physical separation, everything else blurred together. Thomas studied my face. Eliza, he murmured. I don't need to ask how you're feeling, do I? The dangerous reality of our situation crashed over me. The turmoil inside was a warning. We stood on the precipice of something irreversible. There was no going back now. I'm Eliza, 43 years old. I thought I had my life, my marriage, neatly mapped out. Never did I imagine finding myself in such an emotionally complex situation. While my husband Marcus immersed himself in work, I was left alone with my loneliness. The quiet of our home mirrored the emptiness inside me. Then came Thomas. Fresh out of university, brimming with youthful energy, his eyes alight with life. When he first joined our household, he seemed oblivious to my isolation. But gradually, his glances, his tone, his actions grew more intimate. The distance between us steadily diminished. The evening I learned Marcus would be away on business, leaving Thomas and me alone, the atmosphere shifted. Emotions swirled within me like a gathering storm. Equal parts fear of losing control and exhilaration at these new feelings. Thomas seemed nearer to me than ever before. The intensity in his gaze spoke volumes. Over dinner that night, fueled by wine, our conversation turned personal. Laughter and lingering looks stoked the attraction simmering inside me, threatening to erupt. Then our eyes met across the table, and my pulse raced. Drawn by the warmth in his gaze, I closed the distance between us. We stood so close I could hear his breathing, sense his tension, and his undeniable pull toward me. Our locked eyes bridged the remaining gap. "Eliza," Thomas said softly, my name trembling on his lips. "You look beautiful." His words sent my heart pounding. The depth of his stare pulled me in, erasing any hesitation. For several breathless moments, we simply looked at each other. Two people who'd been waiting for this. Then Thomas stepped forward, his movements slow but sure. His hands found my waist, their warmth sending shivers through me. "Thomas," I whispered, but my voice failed me. Wordlessly, he drew me closer. All thought vanished as I tilted my head slightly, letting my eyes convey what words couldn't. Thomas closed the final distance between us, his lips meeting mine in a kiss that ignited something deep within. The world fell away. That first touch of his lips felt both instantaneous and eternal. As we deepened the kiss, Thomas's fingers tangled in my hair before he pulled back slightly to search my eyes. "I don't need to ask how you're feeling, do I?" The word "no" rose within me like a wave, threatening to pull me under. Thomas saw the fear in my eyes, and the desire. His hands trailed from my shoulders to my waist as we became lost in each other. Our gazes held both hunger and apprehension. The weight of loyalty to Marcus pressed down on me, yet my attraction to Thomas grew stronger by the second. "Eliza," he whispered, his lips almost brushing mine. "You feel this too, don't you?" Something fractured inside me. Guilt warred with need as I leaned closer, powerless to resist. My hands moved of their own accord, resting against his chest. Thomas took things further, pulling me firmly against him. When his lips found my neck, his hands exploring my body, tremors of sensation spread through me. The fear in my eyes couldn't mask the storm of conflicting emotions raging within. The turmoil inside me grew unbearable. That searing heat between us made it impossible to think clearly. Part of me knew I should pull away from this intense physical connection, yet another part couldn't resist. I wanted to surrender completely, to stop worrying about consequences. Marcus was away on business, leaving me alone in the house. Outside, dark clouds hung low over the mountains as a gentle rain fell. The quiet was broken only by my racing thoughts, spinning endlessly while I struggled with my confusion. Earlier that evening, while helping Thomas prepare dinner, the silence between us had felt heavy and endless. Those moments would stay with me, my emotions tangled in knots, leaving me too unsure to understand what I truly felt. Changing into a simple white dress in my bedroom, I studied my reflection one last time, that same uncertainty still clouding my mind. I was exhausted from trying to make sense of everything when the sound of rain outside blended with the emptiness inside. Then, unexpectedly, the door creaked open. One slow step, then another. "Thomas," I breathed, my pulse stuttering as our eyes met. Time seemed to freeze. "Eliza," he murmured, his voice soft yet firm. "I need you." He moved closer, his gaze burning with raw desire. Every inch of my body thrummed with tension. My heart pounded, my thoughts whirled. Yet somehow, my feet carried me toward him. "Thomas," I whispered again, barely audible, my hands trembling as they reached for something to steady myself. As if sensing my weakness, his hands settled on my waist, igniting a fire inside me. "What do you feel, Eliza?" he asked, his voice deeper now, closer. His eyes seemed to pulse with every word. "Do you understand me?" Silence stretched between us. I wanted to answer, but something held me back. Then his fingers trailed up to my neck, sending shivers through me. We were so close now, as if no space remained between us at all. The pressure building inside me threatened to burst, and I felt tears pricking at my eyes. Is this real?" I whispered, more to myself than to him. "I don't know what I feel for you," I admitted. "But I can feel you." Thomas leaned in, his lips hovering just above mine. Time seemed to slow as I lost myself completely in the moment. Right then, nothing mattered except him. This he murmured, closing the last sliver of distance between us. Is just between us. Our secret. When our lips met, the world vanished. His body pressed against mine, yet his touch remained careful, as if he could read every emotion inside me. Each gentle movement pulled me deeper, my hands instinctively clinging to him as my emotions surged. Thomas explored me with his hands, awakening sensations I'd buried long ago. A small part of me still feared losing control, but in that moment, I forgot everything else. It was as if we'd stepped onto an unknown path together, uncertain where it led, but it didn't matter. We were here now, closer than I'd ever imagined.